Hey folks, my name is Ethan, co-founder of Cultra, a nutrient analytics platform for growers and agronomists. In today's video, we'll be exploring the role that gastropods play in healthy, balanced soil systems. Gastropods, commonly known as slugs and snails, are often dismissed as garden pests, but these remarkable creatures, most no larger than a fingernail in length, play a vital role in maintaining healthy soil ecosystems. To understand why they matter, we need to start with their ancient origins and their evolutionary split that created two distinct forms. Gastropods first emerged around 350 million years ago as aquatic creatures, and during this time, they developed protective shells that served two crucial purposes: defense against water-dwelling predators and protection from harmful chemicals in salt water. Now, these shells are made primarily of calcium, which the snails extract from their environment and incorporate into their growing armor. Over millions of years, however, some gastropods began evolving away from this protective casing. Slugs gradually lost their shells and either entirely or retained only small internal remnants. This evolutionary divergence created a fascinating trade-off between protection and flexibility, and one that still defines these creatures today. Now that we understand where they came from, let's examine how this difference in anatomy affects their survival strategies. The presence or absence of a shell creates dramatically different lifestyles for snails and slugs. Both creatures are incredibly susceptible to dehydration, but they've evolved different solutions to this shared problem. Snails have a distinct advantage when it comes to surviving dry conditions. When moisture becomes scarce, a snail can retreat deep into its shell and seal off the opening by secreting a slime material that hardens into a thick, leathery layer. In this dormant state, a snail can survive for up to 4 years. And when conditions improve, the snail is ready to emerge and simply eats away at this protective seal and resumes its normal activities. Slugs, lacking this portable shelter, must actively seek cover in moist areas during dry periods. However, not having a shell offers its own advantages. Slugs possess superior mobility and shape control, allowing them to squeeze into tight spaces that would be impossible for a hard shell to navigate. And now this flexibility vastly expands their scavenging range and access to food resources. Now there's another critical difference. Maintaining a calcium-based shell requires consistent access to calcium in the environment, which limits where snails can actually live. Slugs require no such calcium, leaving them free to inhabit a wider variety of soils and locations. With these adaptations in mind, let's look at how these creatures actually move through the environment. Both slugs and snails are nocturnal, primarily because nighttime offers the highest moisture levels and the least drying heat. Now, this timing also appears to reduce the exposure to predators. During these nighttime foraging expeditions, they demonstrate remarkable flexibility, capable of stretching up to 20 times the length of their unstretched bodies. Movement occurs via a singular muscular foot that runs along the bottom of the slug or snail's body. This foot secretes glycoproteins, a sticky slime composed of sugars and proteins. This glycoprotein are produced in the muscular cells of the foot and become exuded from the middle of the creature as they move forward. The slime serves as a lubricant, allowing the gastropod to glide smoothly across rough surfaces. Now, after the creature passes, this glycoprotein trail hardens, forming recognizable paths that other slugs and snails can follow, or that same individual can use to navigate back from foraging. This slime also contains chemicals that deter predators, providing an additional layer of defense. Understanding their movement patterns leads us naturally to their reproduction, another area where these creatures display fascinating adaptations. Slugs and snails are hermaphroditic, meaning they cross-fertilize, allowing both partners in a mating pair to lay eggs. Each mate can deposit between 100 and 200 translucent eggs up to 6 times per year. Now, these eggs are laid just under the surface of the soil, where they possess a remarkable survival mechanism. They can remain dormant for years until conditions, primarily adequate moisture, become suitable for maturation. When conditions align, the eggs can hatch in as little as 2 weeks. This reproductive strategy allows gastropods to persist through unfavorable periods and rapidly populate an area when the environment becomes hospitable. Now that we've covered their life cycle, let's look at what these organisms are actually doing during their active periods. Now, despite common assumptions, gastropods spend only about 5 to 10% of their lives on the soil surface. The rest of their time is spent moving through the soil profile, where they play meaningful roles in maintaining soil function. As slugs and snails travel through residue and pore spaces, they unintentionally transport bacteria and fungi. Microbes and fungal spores hitch rides on their bodies and pass through their digestive systems, helping redistribute decomposers and spread beneficial organisms throughout the soil. Their feeding behavior is also often misunderstood. Slugs and snails are not strictly plant feeders. Now, while they do graze on living tissue under certain conditions, Much of their diet actually consists of fungi, algae, lichens, and decaying organic matter. To process this material, they use a radula, a ribbon-like structure that has teeth just past their mouth that allows them to shred and grind food into fine particles. This physical breakdown increases surface area, making organic matter far more accessible to microbial decomposition and accelerating nutrient cycling below the ground. This brings us to the central role gastropods play in soil ecosystems. Slugs and snails contribute to soil function by physically breaking down organic material and accelerating decomposition and nutrient cycling. Through their feeding activity, they reduce residue particle size, increase microbial access, and help move carbon and other nutrients throughout the soil system. They also occupy an important position in the food web, serving as prey for beetles, reptiles, birds, and other organisms that contribute to population balance. What is most important to recognize is that gastropods respond to soil conditions. In systems with good structure, balanced fertility, and active biological communities, their activity is integrated into normal nutrient cycling and food web dynamics. Slugs and snails are participants in soil processes that convert organic inputs into plant-available nutrients and energy for the broader soil ecosystem. These gastropods are best understood not as surface-level nuisances, but as indicators and participants in the biological processes that govern how soils function below ground. My name is Ethan Polliner, co-founder of Cultra, a nutrient analytics platform for growers and agronomists. If you're interested in learning more about the soil biology and soil chemistry below your very feet, visit our YouTube for more informative videos like this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.